The bustling streets of Manhattan were alive with the usual Thursday evening rush as I made my way back to my office. Even after 5 years at Anderson and Mitchell Marketing, I still felt a surge of pride every time I looked up at our building's gleaming facade. Working late had become a habit since my promotion to senior marketing director, but tonight was different. I needed to finish the Johnson campaign before heading to dinner with my sister Rebecca. "Hey Claire," still buried in work. Rebecca's boyfriend, Nathan's voice, startled me from my concentration. Nathan had been working in our IT department for the past 2 years. Nathan, I didn't expect anyone else to still be here. "Rebecca asked me to make sure you don't forget about dinner. She's been planning this for weeks." I couldn't help but smile at his thoughtfulness. Rebecca had always been the family favorite, but Nathan's genuine kindness made it impossible to resent their relationship. The memory of our childhood flashed through my mind. Rebecca's dance recitals drawing crowds of relatives, while my academic achievements barely warranted a mention from our parents. I pushed the thought away, reminding myself that I had moved past those feelings. "Don't worry, I'll be there. Just need to finish this presentation." As Nathan left, my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder for tomorrow's industry conference. I had no idea that the next day would bring Michael Hamilton into my life and change everything. The following morning, I arrived at the Metropolitan Conference Center, my mind still preoccupied with the previous night's dinner with Rebecca. She had been unusually interested in my work life, particularly the upcoming charity gala our company was organizing. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" I looked up to find myself staring into the warmest brown eyes I'd ever seen. The man standing before me was tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, with a kind smile that immediately put me at ease. "No, please join me." Michael Hamilton, Creative Director at Pioneer Advertising. Claire Anderson, Senior Marketing Director at Anderson and Mitchell. Little did I know that this chance meeting would lead to the greatest happiness and the greatest challenges of my life. 3 months after meeting Michael at the conference, I found myself sitting in Dr. Peterson's office for my weekly therapy session. The relationship with Michael had awakened feelings I'd long suppressed about my family. I invited Michael to my parents' house for dinner this weekend.
How do you feel about that?
Terrified. Every time I bring someone important into my family circle, something goes wrong. Rebecca always becomes the center of attention, and I end up feeling invisible again. The week leading up to the dinner was filled with anxiety. Michael noticed my unease and suggested we meet for coffee before heading to my parents' house.
"Claire, whatever happens tonight, remember that I see you, really see you. Your brilliance, your kindness, your strength. None of that depends on anyone else's validation."
His words brought tears to my eyes. For the first time, I felt truly understood. The dinner started exactly as I'd feared. Mom immediately launched into stories about Rebecca's recent achievements at work, barely acknowledging Michael's presence.
"Rebecca just landed another major client. Nathan says she's the rising star of their department."
"Mom, please. We're supposed to be getting to know Michael tonight." I glanced at Rebecca, surprised by her attempt to redirect the conversation. Maybe things could be different this time.
"Actually, I'd love to hear about both sisters' work. Claire's latest campaign was brilliant. She's revolutionizing how we approach digital marketing."
Under the table, Michael squeezed my hand. My father looked up from his plate, actually seeming interested.
"Digital marketing? Tell us more about that, Claire."
For the first time in years, I felt seen in my parents' house. As I explained my work, I noticed Rebecca watching me with an unreadable expression. Later that night, as Michael drove me home, I felt a mix of emotions I couldn't quite sort out.
"Your sister seemed nice, but I noticed something interesting. Every time you started talking about work, she tried to bring the conversation back to her projects."
Did she? I guess I'm so used to it. I don't even notice anymore.
"You deserve to be heard, Claire, and I'll always be here to make sure you are."
Over the next few months, Michael's presence in my life began to heal old wounds. I started reaching out to Rebecca more, trying to build a real relationship as adults.
Want to grab lunch tomorrow? I'd love your advice on something.
I agreed, hoping this was a sign of positive change. But as I would soon learn, some patterns are harder to break than others. Spring in Central Park was always beautiful, but that evening felt magical. Michael had suggested a walk after dinner, claiming he needed to clear his head after a stressful week.
Do you remember our first conversation at the conference? You told me you believed in creating moments that last forever.
Before I could respond, Michael dropped to one knee. The world seemed to stop around us.
Claire Anderson, you've shown me what real love looks like. Would you create forever moments with me? Will you marry me?
Tears blurred my vision as I nodded, barely managing to whisper, yes. The ring was stunning, a vintage sapphire surrounded by diamonds. My hands were shaking as I called Rebecca. Despite our complicated relationship, she was still my sister.
Oh my God, Claire, that's amazing. Nathan and I were just talking about how perfect you and Michael are together.
Something in her voice sounded off, but I was too happy to dwell on it. The next day, we went to share the news with my parents. Their reaction was less enthusiastic than I'd hoped.
October wedding? But darling, that's only 8 months away. There's so much to plan.
And Michael, are you sure your company's expansion plans won't interfere with the timing?
I felt Michael tense beside me. His company's success was apparently a source of concern rather than celebration.
Mom, Dad, stop it. Let's just be happy for them. I can help with the planning, Claire.
As weeks passed, Rebecca's enthusiasm for wedding planning became almost overwhelming. She had opinions about everything: the venue, the flowers, even my dress.
The plaza would be perfect for your reception. Nathan knows someone there who could help us get a good deal.
Actually, Michael and I were thinking of something more intimate. We found this beautiful restored barn upstate.
A barn? But Claire, this is your big moment. Don't you want it to be spectacular?
One afternoon, while reviewing vendor contracts at work, I overheard something that made my blood run cold.
Did you see Rebecca with James from legal again? They seemed pretty cozy in the break room.
James, Rebecca's ex-boyfriend from 3 years ago. The one she dated before Nathan. I tried to push the thought away, but something felt wrong. The wedding venue situation took an unexpected turn when my parents suddenly offered to pay for the reception at the plaza.
Darling, we've been thinking. You're our firstborn, and this should be a celebration worthy of that.
Something about their sudden generosity felt off, but Michael encouraged me to see it as an olive branch. We signed the contract and paid the deposit. 2 days later, I was working late at the office when Nathan stopped by my desk, looking troubled.
Claire, can we talk? It's about Rebecca.
Of course. Is everything okay?
I don't know. She's been distant lately, always staying late at work. When I surprise her at her office, she's never there.
My stomach churned as I remembered the office gossip about Rebecca and James. That weekend, during a bridesmaid dress fitting, my suspicions were confirmed in the worst way. Rebecca had left her phone on the boutique's counter while trying on dresses. When a message notification lit up the screen, my heart stopped. The text preview read, "James, miss you already. Lunch again tomorrow?"
How do I look in this one? The color really brings out my Claire. Why are you looking at my phone?
Rebecca, we need to talk. Now. In the boutique's private fitting room, the truth spilled out.
It's nothing serious with James. Nathan's been so focused on work lately, and James just understands me.
Understands you? Rebecca, Nathan loves you. He's worried sick about you.
Please don't tell him. I'll end things with James, I promise. Just let me handle this my way.
Before I could respond, my phone rang. It was Mom.
Claire, sweetheart, we need to discuss the wedding. Your father and I have been thinking.
Her next words left me speechless.
Rebecca and Nathan are planning to get engaged soon. It would mean so much if you could postpone your wedding. Give your sister her moment to shine.
Postpone? Mom, we've already paid deposits. The invitations are being printed.
Well, if you refuse to consider it, we'll have to withdraw our offer to pay for the plaza.
That night, I sat in Michael's apartment, torn between loyalty to my sister and what I knew was right.
Claire, honey, you're shaking. Tell me what happened.
The whole story poured out. Rebecca's affair with James, my parents' ultimatum about the wedding, everything.
They're trying to blackmail us with the venue money because Rebecca wants to get engaged while she's cheating on Nathan?
She promised she'd end things with James, but the next day at work, I saw them together in the parking garage, completely absorbed in each other. That evening, I made one of the hardest decisions of my life. I called Nathan and asked him to meet me for coffee.
Claire, you sounded serious on the phone. What's wrong?
My hands trembled as I held my coffee cup. Nathan had always been kind to me, treated me like a real sister. Nathan, there's something you need to know about Rebecca and James. As I spoke, I watched the color drain from his face.
How long have you known?
I just found out recently. But Nathan, there's more. My parents are pressuring me to cancel my wedding because they say you're planning to propose to Rebecca.
I had the ring picked out and everything.
My heart broke for him. I'm so sorry, Nathan. I didn't want to hurt you, but you deserve to know the truth.
Thank you, Claire. I need some time to think.
The next morning, chaos erupted. Rebecca stormed into my office, mascara streaking down her face. How could you? You've ruined everything. Nathan broke up with me. You ruined things yourself, Rebecca, by cheating on someone who loved you.
You're just jealous. You couldn't stand that Mom and Dad were finally going to celebrate something of mine instead of your precious wedding.
The aftermath of Nathan and Rebecca's breakup rippled through the office like a tidal wave. Walking through the halls felt like navigating a minefield.
Claire, do you have a minute?
There's something you should know. Sarah from HR looked uncomfortable as she closed her office door behind us. This isn't the first time Rebecca's done this. Last year's holiday party, there was an incident with a married executive. My heart sank as Sarah continued her story. We kept it quiet because he transferred to another branch. But there's a pattern here, Claire. That evening, my phone wouldn't stop ringing with calls from my parents.
Your sister had to take a leave of absence from work. Are you happy now? Was this your plan all along?
Mom, Rebecca made her own choices. I just couldn't let her hurt Nathan anymore.
You've always been jealous of her, always trying to overshadow her achievements.
I ended the call, feeling drained. Michael found me crying in our kitchen an hour later.
I have some news that might help. My parents want to contribute to our wedding. They love you, Claire, and they don't want us to compromise our dreams.
Just then, my phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. Thank you for being honest with me. I found more evidence. Rebecca's been seeing James for months. The next day, Sarah appeared at my office door again. The company is launching an internal investigation. Apparently, James has been bragging about his relationship with Rebecca to other departments. I felt sick. This was spiraling far beyond what I'd intended.
You've destroyed my career. I hope you're satisfied.
Rebecca's voice from my office doorway made me jump. I didn't start the investigation, Rebecca. Your actions did. A certified letter arrived at our apartment on Tuesday morning. My hands trembled as I read the legal letterhead.
What is it, sweetheart?
My parents. They're threatening to sue me for defamation. They claim I deliberately sabotaged Rebecca's career and relationship. The words on the page seemed to blur together. Emotional distress, malicious intent, compensatory damages.
They can't be serious. Everything you said was true.
Just then, my phone lit up with a call from Aunt Margaret.
Claire, honey, what's this I hear about you spreading vicious lies about your sister? Your mother's beside herself.
Aunt Margaret, they're not lies. Rebecca was cheating on Nathan. There are witnesses.
But to air family dirty laundry like this? And right before your wedding?
The next day, Rebecca appeared at my apartment, looking nothing like her usual polished self.
I lost my job today. The investigation found inappropriate workplace relationships. Are you happy now?
Rebecca, I never wanted this to happen. I just couldn't let you keep hurting Nathan.
You know what's funny? I actually was going to end things with James. Nathan was talking about marriage, and I was ready.
Were you? Or were you just afraid of losing your safety net?
You don't get to judge me. You've always had everything figured out, perfect job, perfect fiancé. Some of us make mistakes.
Making mistakes is one thing. Refusing to take responsibility for them is another. After Rebecca left, I called our family lawyer, Mr. Harrison.
Claire, they don't have a case. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. But are you sure you want to fight your family like this?
On a crisp autumn morning, 1 week before my wedding, I sat in our family home's living room, facing my parents and Rebecca. Michael stood supportively by my side. Before we talk about the lawsuit, I want to say something. I love this family, even when it hurts.
Claire, wait. I need to speak first.
Rebecca's voice sounded different, humbler, more genuine than I'd ever heard it.
I've been in therapy these past few weeks, and I've realized something. You didn't ruin my life. You forced me to face it.
I watched as tears formed in my sister's eyes.
I've always been so afraid of not being perfect, of losing mom and dad's approval. I hurt Nathan, I hurt myself, and I tried to hurt you because I couldn't handle my own failures. Oh, sweetheart.
We never meant to put so much pressure on either of you.
To my surprise, my father's eyes were glistening.
Claire, we've done you both a disservice. Trying to control your wedding, playing favorites. We've been terrible parents.
You weren't terrible, just human.
I withdrew the lawsuit request, and I've started looking for jobs in Boston. I think I need a fresh start.
Boston. That's where Nathan transferred.
I know. I'm not going there for him. He deserves better. I'm going there for me, to build a life I can be proud of.
1 week later, my wedding day arrived. To my surprise, it was perfect in ways I never expected. Rebecca stood beside me as my maid of honor, her speech bringing tears to everyone's eyes as she talked about learning the true meaning of love and integrity from her sister. My parents watched with genuine joy, their pride finally untainted by comparisons or conditions.
I told you everything would work out in the end.
How did you know?
Because you led with truth and love, even when it was hard. That's who you are, Claire Hamilton.
6 months later, Rebecca called with news. She'd been promoted at her new job, and more importantly, she'd found peace with herself.
Thank you, Claire, for loving me enough to be honest with me.
As I hung up the phone, I realized that sometimes the hardest paths lead to the most beautiful destinations. And in the end, our family hadn't broken. We'd rebuilt it, stronger than before, on a foundation of truth and unconditional love.